as well. Paul Dalla, Matthias Lauda and Pedro Lamy, they have had a brilliant weekend so far in the GTE AM class. They've been quickest. The Canadian Dalla just seems to get quicker and quicker. Meanwhile, this is the number 77 Dempsey Proton Porsche, Reed, Cairoli and Dinst. And they are on Dunlops. They've got a little bit of work to do, but as always with the GTE Pro and AM class, it's very close indeed. And as Alan has already told you, the speed increase that we have had in 2017 has been quite something, quite something. So good to see some familiar faces. Some of them are in different cars. Good to see some familiar cars, such as this with their familiar numbers, such as this, the number 51 car of Collado and Pierre Guidi. And it's great to be at Silverstone, and even since we started the broadcast, Alan, even more blue sky has appeared above our heads here in the wing down towards Club Corner, and that can only be a positive thing before we maybe have not such a great day tomorrow with the forecast of a little bit of rain. Louise is down there. Louise, it may be sunny, but what about the temperature if you're down in the pits?
Yeah, the temperature, there may be blue skies and sunny, but the temperature is definitely quite cold.
Quite cold indeed. That may be a problem for people to warm their tyres up and such like, but it is what it is. At least we haven't had any April showers so far yet today. We saw a quick glimpse of the number 91, number 92 Porsche 911 RSR, brand new car for 2017. It has already been racing at Daytona and at Sebring, the 24 and 12-hour races respectively, as we now await the starts of our session.
Yeah, that Porsche is a completely different, revised edition, and we're going to be in a position where I think we're going to see a good battle between these guys, because they want to deliver that pole position against the Ford and the might of Ferrari.
They certainly are. Now then, 20-minute session about to get underway in the next 5 or so seconds, and we are now qualifying here at Silverstone for the 2017 FIA World Endurance Championship. And the first car out onto the racetrack is the Clearwater Racing Ferrari 488 GTE. Here is the Aston Martin, that's one of the Pro cars. That'll be the number 95. Nicky Team Sorensen and Richie Stanaway, they had a spin this morning in free practice, but no damage collected in any shape or form. Long racetrack here, Alan. We've mentioned that at the top of the show. 3.6 miles, 5.9 kilometers. But everybody loves Silverstone.
Yeah, they do. It's one of the best. I had my first ever car race here in 1987. That's 30 years ago. And it was a very different circuit then. There was only 5 corners on the Grand Prix circuit. Now we're looking at 19 corners. A completely changed environment. But whatever guise it was always a challenge. And it's a real challenge in qualifying. But if you come across the start-finish line and you've delivered a lap, first of all, you've worked for it. Second of all, you've got to give your engineer a pat in the back to get the right compromise between the high speed and the low speed. And third of all, you've got a big smile on that slowing down lap, because you know you've definitely earned it.
Kept the tyres in the oven for as long as possible, tried to reduce the amount of time travelling between the back of the garage, where they have not necessarily been put in tyre warmers but tyre ovens, and they heat them up to nearly working temperature. You can lean on them quite quickly.
They're totally to working temperature. By the time they come out the ovens and onto the car, if you're quick to get them through, which is probably 30 seconds from the call from the engineer to them actually being on the car, they're about 85 degrees Celsius, and your working temperature is around about 90 normally. Now here, with the cold conditions, then they'll drop off a little bit, but the driver's job now is to energize that tire and make sure that he keeps the temperature and also the pressures in it, so that when he does start his actual qualifying lap, then by the time he goes into turn 1 through turn 2 and 3, then he's absolutely ready to hit the brakes, as now Matt Griffin does it through the flat out, or very, very close to flat out turn 1.
As he makes his way up through Farm and up towards Village Corner, the slowest part of the Silverstone racetrack here that was introduced a few years back. Bit of a wobble on the way in there. Here comes the Aston Martin. 4 different manufacturers in the GTE class, whether or not it's amateur or for the pros. and very different engine configurations between them as well. Down the Wellington Straight, slightly down the hill and into the complex, the first part of which is Brooklands. In he goes to the left-hander, and then the long, seemingly never-ending right-hander at Luffield.
That's the corner that really starts to work that left front tyre, because as you say, it just never ends, and you're always trying to get the power on and loading it up. And then you come through to Copse, a beautiful corner. You're enclosed behind the grandstand and also the pit building there, but right now you get into the wind, and that's another hard one for that left front tyre before you get to probably, in my view, one of the best sections of motorsport track in the world, Beckett's.
Beckett's, the one way, then the other, hanging on to the car. You can't take too much curb. There was a little bit of water still inside the serrations of those curbs this morning, and a couple of people had some big moments, but they were lucky enough to get away with it in the European Le Mans Series qualifying that we had 24 hours ago. A couple of people had a spin there, but already he's done the hanger straights, and he is into Stowe Corner. In the meantime, this is the number 98 Aston Martin. This is the Dallalana, Lamy and Lauda car. At the moment in that car is Pedro Lamy, former Formula One driver, former Peugeot LMP1 driver, and the first laps are being completed here. Matt Griffin doing a sub 2-minute lap with 1:59.11. Pedro Lamy going just a little bit quicker, 1:58.79. We ride on board with Pedro Lamy. No, sorry, this is going to be the Aston Martin, number 95. So this will be over the line he goes. That is Nicky Team going quickest, 1:56.9.
Yeah, that's still 7/10 slower than the best time of this morning. That was done by the Ford of Andy Prio and Harry Tinknell. So therefore, the tyres aren't quite coming up to temperature, so I think they will go for the second lap. Remember, we heard Andy Prio and his engineer talking about that, trying to get that second lap in before they switch drivers. Because remember, qualifying isn't just about the fastest lap, it's about the fastest lap of two drivers and then the average of those two.
There you have the Works Porsche squad ready and waiting before they do a driver change. That looked like Richard Leeks getting ready. In the meantime, the Darren Turner car, Turner, Adam and Daniel Serra, they prepare in the garage. Meantime, under sunny skies, the Ferrari comes towards us at Stowe, followed by the new 911 RSR, followed by another 488 Ferrari. That's the number 71 coming through. Davide Rigon and Sam Bird will be driving that car here this weekend. And in that car at the moment is Davide Rigon. He's yet to do a lap that will register, but still quickest at the moment. It's Nicky Team on a 1:56.9. He's got a 0.15 of a second advantage over Fred Makovici. No, Rigon takes that quickest time at the moment. So Rigon goes over the line, and he is quickest by just 0.08 of a second in a near 2-minute lap. There's nothing in it.
Yeah, nothing in it, but Andy Prio is half a second faster than Rigon in the first sector. But Rigon's first sector tells me that he didn't quite hook it up, because he's slower than everybody else around him in there. As now Prio comes through the first part of Maggots into the left-hander, just lifts off, lets it run through. And then the final, the slowest point of this corner, which is still 100 miles an hour, before accelerating out, using the curb and down onto hanger straight. Now, this is the point as a driver. You know you've delivered a good first sector. He's delivered the fastest second sector of anyone so far, a 48.88. You know you've only really got 3 corners to go, and so you pump yourself up for Stowe, and then the big braking into the final chicane.
Astons have come in. They are going to be changing drivers, but we're going to keep an eye on Andy Prio. Here he comes into the final parts of Silverstone through Vale, accelerating hard. It'll be flat through this final right-hander. 1:56.9 to beat. He looks like he's going to be doing a 1:56, oh, 55.8 it is as he comes over the line. That's a gauntlet down.
That's 1 second faster than Rigon in the Ferrari. Now, we must note that Rigon dropped probably 0.6 of a second in the first sector alone, so therefore it's not a true 1 second advantage, but it definitely is the gauntlet thrown down for everybody else to come back at. We've still got Pierre Guidi to come through, though.
In the meantime, here is the GTE AM race. This is the number 54 Spirit of Race Ferrari coming across the line and going to second position with Castellacci at the wheel. The Italian is just a tenth or so back of the class pole position car at the moment, which is the Aston Martin, Dall'Alana, Lamy and Lauda.
Well, yeah, Castellacci, he's actually a neighbour of mine. I see him most mornings on the way for a coffee or something else. He's a good little driver, I've got to say. He works very hard at it. And with the Ferrari now, it looks like he's got a car underneath him.
So then, going quicker again is the number 61. So he's still fourth in class.
Yep.
So fourth in class. Change of drivers, the Austrian getting in, the number 92. So, sorry. That's the Christensen Estra car. Apologies, Christensen Estra car. Looks like Kevin getting in. In the meantime, here's a quick slow-mo of Andy Prio finishing his lap with that Ford GT.
Yeah. Just a little note that we talked about Castellacci. He's just had his time deleted for abuse of track limits, turn 18, which is the final corner. That's one factor here. As we see the GT of Andy Prio coming into the pits, he'll change over to Harry Tinknell now in that car. And that car currently is 1 second ahead of anyone else so far in the fight for pole position. But here, because it's such a wide open area, track limits is something we may be talking about. And automatically, if you go wide, your lap time is deleted, and then you've got to deliver one or you haven't qualified.
Yeah. So in the meantime, as that number 67 comes in the garage, a little bit further down, the two Aston Martins that we saw a good, 60 seconds ago, Alan, are still in the pit lane, still on the jacks, sort of waiting to see what's going to happen. 10.5 minutes remain, they have time, but you don't want to waste too much time.
Yeah, they basically have got their wheels off there, be back in the ovens, trying to get some temperature back into them, because if you leave your wheels on the car in these cold temperatures, the temperatures just drop off and you go back out and you wouldn't have grip. And so therefore, take the wheels off if you're going to sit. You see a big slide. That was quick bit of oversteer, monumental oversteer there for the boys who came through. Dall'Alana, and it was quickest actually on that lap before Matt Griffin in the Ferrari went slightly quicker in the 61 car.
Proof that the Canadian just gets quicker and quicker with that number 98 Aston Martin. And, you know, he's a slightly larger fellow, should we say, by his own admission, than the other two drivers in the team. Some 30 kilos difference. So he's got to drive quicker just to do the same lap time.
Well, he's got to drive 30 kilos quicker. But I tell you what, he's given it everything to get an oversteer through the final corner. That, I've got to be honest, it made me smile. I like to see those big rubber lines as he's got the opposite lock on and he's fighting it, but still keeping his foot flat in the throat.
There's a cracking set of number 11s coming out of that final corner, Alan, and they will stay there a while. There's Pedro Lamy. He was in that car first off to do the lap time that is set for that number 98 Aston Martin, which is 58.7 at the moment. Back though with the GTE Pro battle, that looks like the number 91 Porsche coming towards us. Yes, that at the moment has got Richard Leitz in it. We saw the Austrian taking over from the Frenchman Fred Makovici. And he is out there with seemingly sunny skies getting bigger and bigger over the tops of our heads.
This is Pierre Guidi that is in this Ferrari, the 51 that we're watching at the moment now. That's the seat that Jimmy Bruni was normally in. Jimmy Bruni being a stalwart of Ferrari for so many years, the guy that's won so many championships in racing for them. But he's turned and he's gone to the dark side as far as Ferrari is concerned, and that's he will turn up in a Porsche later on this year. Jimmy Bruni, probably the star of this category over the last sort of 5-7 years, and they were looking for a new driver, and Pierre Guidi was the guy that won the shootout, and he's sitting in the plum seat.
On board with the number 95, this is Sorensen at the wheel. Flat through this left-hander as they get onto the Wellington straight, building speed, 6th gear, 150 miles an hour it'll be for Stanaway. Those kilometers an hour, okay, if he was going maximum speed, he'd be doing 150 miles an hour, but when I look and he's only doing 178 kilometers an hour, he's not doing 150 miles an hour, so he's just finding a little bit of space on the racetrack. one of the other Aston Martins comes past. Of course, the Aston Martin's built literally 10-15 minutes drive away in ProDrive, still very new, spacious building and workshop and technical centre that they've got just on the side of the M40 with that shape of the Aston Martin purveyed on the side of it. And they really are working super well in the probably the 8th season of the chassis of this car, before potentially getting a new chassis, a new car for next year, the likes of which we have yet to hear about. In the meantime, the number 92 Porsche comes over the line. Christensen does a time, 1:58.0. Still a lot of time to be found there by that new 911 RSR.
Yeah, it is, and a little bit of strategy being played out. Louise in the pit lane's just thrown up some fantastic information. The 97 and the 95 Aston Martin have gone for 2 new tyres on the left-hand side. They're allowed to have some joker tyres, and they've decided to use them for this. Now, the interesting point of that is they are the team on Dunlops, and every other car in that category is actually on the Michelin tyre. And so, therefore, it'll be interesting to see what Michelin decide to do as they go out onto their second run with their second driver. And the first guy to do that's Harry Tinknell, who's in the Ford 67 on our screens now, coming down into Stowe Corner. This is his warm-up lap, and I think they have stayed on the same set of tyres for both drivers.
So the rules for the GTE Pro cars mean that they have, from now on, i.e. I call it Saturday lunchtime, Alan, if I can say that, so qualifying and then the 6-hour race, 4 sets of tyres plus 2. And they have therefore used 6 tyres of that allocation so far with the Aston Martin.
Which means in the race they will have to do what we call a double stint and keep the tyre on for 2 tankfuls of fuel. But Ford have looked at, with Michelin, gone to a slightly different strategy there, as we've got a beautiful replay of this GT coming through. The important thing here for Tinknell is that he's actually got a 1-second gap. It's now half a second with Sam Bird having gone popped up himself into second, but he's got a decent gap, so risk is maybe a little bit more on his mind than the total reward of giving everything on a qualifying lap.
And with less tyres available for these drivers from Saturday lunchtime to the end of the race come Sunday, they can't afford a lockup. You can't afford to flat spot a tyre and essentially lose it.
No, you can't, but saying that, Tinknell's just gone through the first sector with a 35.588, which is equal Bird in second, so I don't think he's listening to my advice of, you know, trying to keep it calm and just get it in the bag. He's actually going to deliver one. But yeah, you can't afford to make a mistake. It's one of the skills of the driver, though, you know, pushing to the limit, but not pushing over the limit, especially in qualifying. And these guys are extremely good and capable, so I don't see too many problems there.
Certainly not. It's a very high grip circuit though, Silverstone, isn't it?
It's a very abrasive circuit, and with the long, fast corners, you put so much energy into the tyre, and that means that the tyre wear is quite high. But it also means with the high speed, if you lock up coming from high speed into, for example, where we're watching the Ferrari now coming down through Vale and then into one of the slowest corners in the circuit, it's so easy to lock up that left front tyre there. And once you skim the top surface of it, gives it a small flat spot, you also get high vibrations, and those vibrations can certainly shake your teeth out.
Okay, target on the left-hand side, a 55.8, a 57.1 there for the number 71. Of course, a Ferrari, Sam Bird at the helm of that. Meanwhile, if we go over the Dolomites and we go up to see what Porsche are up to, they have still got not that much time to exit the pits and see what they can do about it. There is the number 95 Aston Martin, Sorensen at the wheel, third at the moment for the Nicky Team Sorensen and Richie Stanaway car, but still on pole position. It is Harry Tinknell at the moment from Sam Bird, from Sorensen. It is a Ford, a Ferrari and an Aston Martin in the first 3 places in the GTE Pro class, and in the GTE AM class it is the Aston Martin of Dalla Lana that's on pole from the Ferrari of Floor, from the Porsche of Reed. So 3 different manufacturers in the first 3 places, both classes.
Yeah, and also tyre manufacturers as well. As we see a little bit of traffic there for the 66 Ford, which is currently in 4th position with Olivier Pla, the French driver, as he comes down Hanger Straight. He's probably lost a little bit of momentum out of that one, but right now Tinknell's got a 9/10 of a second advantage, 8/10 of a second advantage over Bird, and then Sorensen a tickle behind.
You can see the Ford coming into shot. You can see the graphic of the number 91 Porsche. That has had its last lap time deleted for exceeding those track limits that Alan was talking about. The two Porsches, brand new cars, with only 2.5 minutes remaining, are at the moment last and second last in the Pro class. That's not good at the moment. They've got a lot of big rabbits to pull out of a very small hat at Easter.
No, 7th and 8th, that isn't good, but the big thing for me is the lap time difference, 1.8 seconds, and 1 second from the front row of the grid, and that's a huge amount. And so let's see if they can actually do something about it. But car 91, Richard Leeds here coming through Stowe Corner and then down in, and he looks like he's going to the pits. That's it.
Wow. Wow, that's the 7th place car.
I haven't got too much to say to you, to be honest with you.
I'm stunned.
91, current lap deleted for track limits at T9.
Another track at Copse Corner, turn 9, and that's car number 91. And that's Leeds himself, and as we see here, this is actually as he comes down onto the Hanger Straight. He's gone very wide out to the final part of Beckett's, and probably kept his foot in that one and bounced across the curb a little bit, but the lap time has been deleted.
There is Paul Dalla, pole position for the number 98 Aston Martin, and joy all round down there with the Ford number 67 car. That is Harry Tinknell just getting out of the car, and Andy Prio, 3 times a World Touring Car Champion, once a European Touring Car Champion, top of the pile here at Silverstone. Alan, what a turnaround from 12 months ago in qualifying. It was not good for that squad 12 months ago, but they came out as victorious at Le Mans, and they are top of the pile here today. Let us not forget Durrani down there, new to the team, and I'm certainly looking forward to commentating on him throughout the 2017 season, because he just keeps winning and winning. He really does have a Midas touch. Meanwhile, as the 67 Ford celebrates its pole position, let's have a catch up with Olivier Pla in the sister Ford GT, the number 66. It is currently in 4th position as top of the GTE Pro, guys. More than happy. Tinknell, Prio and Durrani, pole position here at Silverstone. What a way to kick off the 2017 season. And likewise, Dalla there on the left-hand side, the Canadian, Matthias Lauda on the right-hand side, and all of the Aston Martin crew over the moon. Over the moon. Great qualifying, great way to start.
Yeah, and there's Larry Holt from Multimatics, the man behind this race car, the Ford GT, but also a big part of the Ford GT road car as well, and he'll be super happy about that. But I think we're going to hear from Andy Prio in a few seconds' time. And he's the guy that delivered the first lap, that stunning lap time, to allow Harry Tinknell to deliver the deal.
Andy Prio, we knew you were going to be strong here, and you've proved it. Superb effort.
Well, yeah, I'm delighted. Thanks to all the guys, you know, the Ford team, Chip Ganassi and Multimatics. We had a great car. We've worked hard over the winter. Honestly, we didn't think that we were going to be that competitive. We've pushed 100%. And, you know, I had a great lap. It all worked. The peak came together, and for sure, it was a really nice lap. So very happy. We've got a big race tomorrow. Let's see how it works.
Good work. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very happy indeed. And, well, there's a little bit of sentimentality on this side of the commentary box, Alan, because I used to commentate on Andy Prio back in '94 when he was hill climbing, and he won the British Championship in '95, and he was quick then, and he's still quick now. There is your GTE AM class, Matthias Lauda on the left-hand side, Paul Dalla in the middle, and Pedro Lamy on the right-hand side. They are on pole position with their Aston Martin. 1:59.5, 1.1 seconds ahead of the second place Ferrari, the number 54 Ferrari, Floor, Castellacci and Molina. So there you have confirmation of it. For Chip Ganassi Racing, pole position here at Silverstone, ahead of the number 71 AF Corsa Ferrari. The Aston Martin making it 3 different manufacturers in the first 3 places, and then the 66 Ford, before then the pole position man in the GTE AM class. Louise is down there with Paul now.
Paul Dall'Anna, just before you went out on that run, Matthias came and whispered in your ear. What did he say?
Don't screw it up. No pressure. No, of course, we wanted to start the year off on the right foot, obviously, and getting pole here in a home race is exactly that. So, you know, he just said, take it easy and you know, do what you can do. So for me, that was all I needed, a little breath of, you know, real reality, and, you know, it all came together.
It would seem so. Well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a fantastic job by the team there. And also, you know, just as we were speaking about before, they're on a slightly different situation because they're on that Dunlop tyre. But he's super pleased. And it's fantastic for me to see a driver that comes back and he's got that huge smile on his face, because that's partly why we do this, the massive passion of it all.
And you saw a quick glimpse there of David Richards, who started Pro Drive all those years ago. You know, it was 30 years ago next month that they won their first ever World Rally Championship event. And here they are now, 30 years later, and they're still got the speeds. Obviously, they're so well known for their rallying exploits, but hey, they're circuit racers. They went to Le Mans first with the Ferrari, and in recent years, then the Aston Martin being linked with the Pro Drive name. In the meantime, we're going to move on because it's now time for LMP2 cars to go out on track, and it's great to see Ollie Jarvis just about to get into the Jackie Chan Racing Team car. That looks like the number 38 car down there. In the meantime, a little bit further up pit lane, it's the Toyotas, 2 of them here this weekend. There'll be 3 next time out in Spa, 3 then the time after by the time we get to Le Mans, but it's 2 just to kick us off here at Silverstone this weekend. It is Toyota versus Porsche at the forefront of the LMP action. And as regards to LMP2, Alan, well, your guess is as good as mine.
Yeah. The regard to the overall battle, it's going to be between these 2 cars. Interestingly, Porsches came here with their lower downforce specification, focusing more on Le Mans right now, whereas Toyotas came here for the higher downforce specification, and that's something that definitely will help them in qualifying, but it's going to be a good old battle between them, because there was a little bit of a difference this morning, but not quite as much. In the 2 Toyotas, though, we've got Conway and Davidson kicking it off. 2 Brits who definitely know their way around here. Brendan Hartley is going to start one of the Porsches, and then Neil Yanni in the other one. So all of them will be needing to give a good lap time for their teammates.
A lot of people here this weekend. If you're thinking about coming tomorrow, make sure you do come down. It doesn't matter about the weather. Kids under 16 go free.
Copy loud and clear. Okay, can we just to remind you, there was some lap cancel on GT qualifying because of track limits, so we need to pay attention to that, especially turn 9, 15 and last corner. Okay, perfect. And in terms of TC settings, what you have in the car now is what you drove in the quali attempt yesterday, but feel free to adjust it if you need. Okay, keep it full.
Yeah, they was talking there about track limits, which obviously we saw sometimes being deleted in the GT, and that's also a little bit affected by the wind. They were talking about turn 9, that's Copse Corner, where the car gets blown out that little bit. Also at the exit of Stowe, but mainly also the final corner itself. TC, traction control. They had done a qualifying sim, and therefore you adapt a qualifying traction control setting to the grip level you have. He needs to maybe just keep a little bit of an eye on that, because the grip level from yesterday or this morning will be a little bit different this afternoon. We're taking a bit more fuel out of the car to make it lighter for more performance, but the other thing is just generally the way the tyre is working as well, because he'll have a brand new set of boots on that thing. So it's just a small adaptation, and it's good for the engineer just to remind the driver the history of certain items.
So much experience, though, up and down the LMP2 pit lane, both with engineering and with drivers. Here is Jean-Eric Verne, former Formula One driver, busy, of course, with Formula E this year, and now jumping into an LMP2 car with the Manor squad. He's got Tor Graves and Hershey alongside him. Here is the Rebellion. It's white. There's two of them this year. This is the number 31 car. This is the Julien Canal, Nico Prost and Bruno Senna. As that is Julien in the car. He knows about winning around Le Mans in an LMP2 car, doesn't he? So he's going to be a star to keep an eye on throughout this 2017 season. Their teammates, Matthias Besch, Dominic Hannemer Hansen, and also Nelson Piquet Jr. Here is the Signatech Alpine. This is just one car here this weekend, but there's going to be two from Spa onwards going then into Le Mans. Matt Rao in the hot seat, ready and waiting like a spring ready to bounce for his qualifying session.
Yeah, and Louise has just told us that Toyota's maybe looking to split their strategy because one car is still in the box, the other one's in the pit lane. Part of the reason for that is to get the tyres out and onto the car as late as possible to keep the maximum temperatures in it. The other thing is that you maybe think, okay, if I don't go out the beginning, then I might be able to get some more clear space on the circuit, no traffic, and to have that vital clear lap when the tyre is at its absolute peak. Personally, I always prefer to be right down at the beginning of the pit lane and go for it. I just couldn't quite control myself.
Here is the number 13 Rebellion. Matthias Besch, Hannemer Hansen and Nelson Piquet Jr. will be driving that car throughout this year. Cool, we got some ex-Formula One guys here as well. Nelson's father, Nelson, is here, of course, 3 times a world champion in Formula One, 81, 83, 87. Alex Lynn, what a start to the year Alex Lynn had. Rocking up at Daytona, rocking up on top of the podium 24 hours later. How cool was that for the British superstar? A star who has already been victorious in GP3, and here he is in sports car racing. Hey, he says, I want to go and do Le Mans. I want to tick off a very good bucket list.
There's Nakajima in that Toyota there, just sitting, concentrating, taking a deep breath. You know, right now is the one time when you don't have your... You've got a couple of minutes to go. You don't have your engineer talking any longer. It's your point just to get your own space, get yourself focused, just to run through things in your mind, make sure everything on the steering wheel is in the correct position, whether it be the hybrid recuperation, the hybrid boosting, traction control systems, the engine management systems, the various other things that can compromise or maximize your performance. And then finally, what are you going to do at turn 1? How are you going to build up the pressures? How are you going to build up the temperatures, maintain the pressures and temperatures?
First LMP qualifying session of the season.
Eduardo Freitas, the race director, the calm voice that we've heard so many times, just counting us down. We've got another 15 seconds or so as we sit on board with the number 1 car there. That's Neil Jani, and the 2 Porsches sandwiching the number 8 Toyota there as the countdown starts, and we are underway for 20 minutes of qualifying for LMP1 and LMP2 cars here
rock and
at
roll.
Silverstone.
This is fantastic. This is what it's all about. This new rearward camera is a really good one to watch as well. You see the speed, but you also see the vibration and the roughness and harshness that you've got in these racing cars. As now they just build up, coming through the flat-out left-hander and down the Wellington Straight towards the BRDC building, the British Racing Drivers Club, who own Silverstone and are very, very big supporters of this event coming into Luffield, the long right-hander.
On board with the Porsche looking backwards. We were on board with the Toyota looking forwards, but looking down the spine of that shark fin as they rocket out of Woodcote. On board with the number 8 Toyota. This is Kazuki Nakajima, flat chat through Woodcote corner, and as he goes into Copse, just feathering it just for a moment, but it is his out lap. They're only going to get quicker and quicker. Just remind us of the quickest lap time that we've had so far here this weekend, Alan. I believe it was yesterday.
Yes, it was. It was a 1 minute 38.210 by Toyota number 8. This car He decimated what was the fastest lap last year of a 1:39.655, and I would fully expect them to be in the 37s when we get into qualifying. But he's actually still quite close to the car ahead. Normally you drop back just that little bit further to ensure if he made a mistake, you didn't get caught up in that as well.
Giving himself a little bit of space so that there's no dirty air in front of him as he comes through that club corner. And then as it opens out onto the home straight, the wing on the right-hand side, and now they are on it. This is racing in some of the world's, if not the world's, most technological racing car. These things are stunning. 900 horsepower for the Porsche, 1,000 horsepower for the Toyota. Just a little 2-litre V4 petrol engine producing, that's turbocharged behind Brendan Hartley there, producing some 500 horsepower, but then the lithium-ion battery that's charged with the energy that's recouped on braking, giving them another 400 horsepower boost as they rocket out of the corners. Astronomical amounts of power.
Astronomical first sector by Nakajima. He's 4/10ths faster than Hartley on that. He was quick there yesterday in the first sector, but that's a very, very quick time. Remember, they're on slightly different downforce levels, and so they'll be fast at different points on the circuit. But Nakajima, in fact, Kobayashi has gone 3/10ths quicker again than his teammate Nakajima already.
We ride on board with Brendan Hartley in the number 2 Porsche. He had a bit of a moment and didn't get to the finish last year in the race, but this is qualifying. Now here is the car that Alan was talking about. This is Kobayashi in the number 7 Toyota. An update, but nearly some, you know, a lot of parts new on the car for this year. The aero is different, the ride height is different for all of the competitors as he's continuing to go quicker.
This is a blinding lap from Kobayashi as he comes through Cops Corner. His teammate Nakajima just coming into the final. He will be fastest, obviously, so far. But Kobayashi, if he doesn't make a mistake, he's going to absolutely decimate it. I wouldn't be surprised if he's at 38.9, 37.6 for Nakajima as he comes across the line now. What a fantastic lap time. I don't think anyone will get near that.
36.7 for Kobayashi in the number 7 as he crosses the line. 36.7. The 2 Toyotas are 2 seconds ahead of the Porsche at the moment. Stoic faces looking on. In the meantime, let us not forget about the LMP2 class. The number 13 Rebellion, Matthias Besch at the wheel. He goes pole at the moment. In the sister car of Julian Canal is second in LMP2 as the Oreca's with their 4.2-litre V8 Gibson engine rattling around Silverstone. They've got about 600 horsepower. These are quick cars. They were, what, 3 seconds quicker than last year, Alan?
No, that 3 seconds. 5.5 seconds.
5.5
They've got another 100
seconds.
horsepower. You see it bouncing. They're stiff, very, very stiff as they're coming down into snow. It's quite bumpy into there. And you've got to be careful you don't brake too much because then you create more bouncing. But he seems to have got it right. But the faster section gains from that stiffness. Just in these low-speed sections, the car slides around a little bit more. However, this was one of the fastest cars through every qualifying session so far, and he goes quicker with Xavier, who came from World Series, which is a support race this weekend. And as you can see just the front, how stiff it is as it's jumping and bouncing and shaking him around coming into that Stoke corner. Now we've got 38 Jackie Chan Racing, and this car has got, let me see who's in that. That's Oliver Jarvis, a guy that I know extremely well from his previous racing exploits, also racing with Bentley in the Blancpain Championship, and Ollie's came from the LMP1 category. He was driving in the Audi last year as he comes through Beckett. Taking a little bit of time. He said actually it was a bit tougher to adapt than he expected, but he said now he's really into it and enjoying it massively. He's the first driver that's out in this one, and you see it's maybe not quite as stiffly sprung as they come down into Stowe Corner.
Great livery on that car as there is a change of drivers already in the number 2 Porsche, so that's Brendan Hartley getting out. They're all coming in down there. It's busy bees indeed. So let us just recap. On the pole position at the moment is the number 7 Toyota Kobayashi ahead of Nakajima. Then it's the Porsche's 3rd and 4th. And a 36.7, 1 minute 36.7 is just 7.5 seconds off what Lewis Hamilton did here in July. And this is a lot heavier car with an LMP1 car compared with the Formula 1 car. 7.5 seconds. It's a lot colder here today. than what Hamilton had to deal with in Formula One. Just gives you some idea of the technology that is in the World Endurance Championship at the moment.
Yeah, and this man here, Alex Lynn, we were talking about him before, he's just delivered the fastest lap in the LMP2 category, a 1:43.412. You know, they did a 1:49.6 last year in free practice 2. Free practice 3 was snowed off, and then qualifying is a bit wet, but that's just a huge time gain. Alex Lynn currently on the pole position. In fact, Xavier second in the car 28, and then Olivier Bechet, the Rebellion, in third.
So as they come over the line, does that change the order somewhat? No, it doesn't. Let's have another look at the number 25 car. Who is in this at the moment? It's Vitaly Petrov. You'll know him from Formula One. And the super slow-mo Vitaly coming through. At the moment, he's fourth.
Yeah, and Louise is down in the pit lane giving us some information. You saw a Porsche, their tyres going on, going off. What are they going to do? Are they going to use an extra set of tyres on the outside? Are they going to go for an overall 4? Nakajima's the one that I would suspect may throw that dice, because he is 8 tenths behind his teammate. And they're going for a whole set, Louise has just given us the information. And that means that takes away 1 set for the race of freshness. However, Toyota did that a lot last year, where they were able to maybe play with their tyre allocations a little bit differently to the rest. Now, the question is, can Porsche make up a 2-second deficit with a set of tyres? No. What's the point of doing it? It would only be an inter-team battle between the two cars, car number 1 and car number 2. So I would say, from their point of view, the logical thing is just keep the same tyre on and then fight in the race.
And as we look at Graham Loudon there in the Manor Garage, just to recap, the Toyota has got more downforce than the Porsche here. So there's a point at which the Porsche, as you say, it will not go any faster. Porsche are playing the long game, therefore, Alan, to focus on Spa and then Le Mans.
Yeah, well, they're both playing the long game in that respect, because they're both focusing on the World Championship. And it's a World Championship. It's just 2 ways to do it. You've seen they've got different engine concepts, they've got different aero concepts, they've got different strategy concepts in that respect. And so therefore it's how you best do it. But to be honest, if you're 2 seconds off the pace, unless the driver had a bad lap or there was a technical issue, you ain't going to gain that back up. And so therefore you're better to try to think, right, okay, we have to now play the long game for tomorrow, because Kobayashi's time, 36.793. That is a blinding lap time any time of the year in any car.
Absolutely. Now then, on board with Matt Rao there, 6th gear, flat chat down the hanger straight as he starts to just tip it into Stowe corner, 5th then 4th. He'll go up another gear, or will he hold it in 4th? Yeah, he's going to go up to 5th and then come down to 4th. 3rd, 2nd and 1st gear before the end of the lap. He needs a lap, Matt Rao, in that Signatech Alpine, because they haven't got one on the board and they're already coming up to the halfway point in the session. Finally, he's done it, 1:46.3, so he's off the bottom of the LMP2 grid at the moment. LMP2 pole position at the moment is the number 26, therefore it's one of the G-Drive cars. Rusinov, Thirier, Alex Lynn, they have pole position at the moment by about 0.3 of a second. Meanwhile, back with the number 2 Porsche, Timo Bernhard, now at the wheel.
Yeah, Timo Bernhard is at the wheel of this car. I don't think they've had any change. Apparently, Nick Tandy, who's the Brit in car number 1, who's going to be out in a second, he's gone for left-hand side tyres only. But we're not really sure what happened on the right. They were keeping that pretty closed off, as now Bernhard comes into turn 1 flat out through that right-hander, and then hard braking into the next one from there. But this is car number 8. This is the pole position car with Kobayashi before, and sorry, the 2nd place car, apologies, with Anthony Davidson, Brit Anthony Davidson, who's a previous winner round here, and he is going to have to work pretty mightily hard if he's going to gain that advantage back. 29.9 on his outlap in the 1st sector.
Okay, Alan, you're coming into Stowe corner, you've got to ride those bumps, you've got to just hang on. The G-forces in the cars are Formula 1 level, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. And cars have got huge downforce, more than a Formula 1 car in this configuration, as he's now got 2 corners to go. Flicks it right. His first 2 sectors are good, but are they good enough? I don't think for the average of both drivers, as now he crosses the finish line. And yes, it is a good lap. Not an ideal final sector for Anthony Davidson, but it means they're 8/10 on average away from their sister car, which has now got another Brit, Mike Conway, in it.
Anthony Davidson, new livery for his crash helmet here for 2017. Bit of a shock when I saw the pictures of it, but he's decided for a change. So that's why that helmet colour looked a little bit different. Meanwhile, we're back with the number 2 Porsche. This is Timo Bernhard, the German, at the wheel, coming around to finish his lap.
Yeah, but he's been a second off in the middle sector to Anthony Davidson's lap time, which wasn't the fastest of anyone so far. So for them, it's just about trying to get on, maintain 3rd position on the grid, or hopefully get 3rd from their teammates. Inter-team Porsche battle in that respect.
Okay, so the target for the next car to come over the line, the sister number 1 car, that's not going to happen, as we see the super slow-mo and the architecture, the art, the sculpture of a modern LMP1 car. These are cars making history here in this current era of sports car racing. These are the kind of cars that we're going to ooh and ah and wow at the Goodwood Festival of Speed in 20, 30 years' time, aren't we? Because this is something special. In the meantime, here's our first glimpse at the LMP1 by Colles car.
Yeah, it's got James Rossiter in the driving seat as he goes out of the pit lane now. Now car number 7, Mike Conway, flashing the lights. He sees a bit of traffic up ahead of him is Neil Yanni and Andre Lotterer there, just having a bit of a discussion about where it is. Doesn't look all smiles and happiness. They're not surprised, and it's the gap between them and Toyota that is the thing that they'll not be totally comfortable with, because that's a big margin to try and make up in any way on strategy. And you can see now the traffic as Conway's got past both of them, flicks it into Copse, and it looks like he was right on the limit of track's limits there at turn 9. Copse corner now before he comes into Beckett's.
Already hanging on the car as he comes through there. Is that a Porsche in front of him? One way, then the other again. Now he's just got to come out of Chapel, the quick left-hander. Getting a little bit of a slipstream. The Porsche keeps out of the way. That was Nick Tandy keeping out of the way. He's fresh into the car. Conway, though, into Stowe Corner. This is the car currently on pole position with a 136.7. And as he comes down through the Vale into the tight left-hander, the single red light showing that it's on pole position at the moment for tomorrow's 6 hours of Silverstone to kick off the World Endurance Championship. There's the target, 36.7. He does a 37.4.
And his lap time is going to be deleted because of abuse of track limits at Copse Corner. We noted it, that it was right on the limit. Apparently it wasn't. Apparently it was just a little bit over that limit. So immediately, that's going to be deleted.
So then, Alan, you got it absolutely spot on. There must have been inches in it from the inside tyres being over the absolute outside white line of the Copse Corner, but it was a good spot. We saw Nick Tandy coming into the pits with the number 1 Porsche a moment ago. So he has got all the time in the world to play with before the end of this session in 5.5 minutes. Here's the Rebellion. That's the number 31 car. At the wheel, it is Bruno Senna. He's got some work to do because at the moment he's 6th on the LMP2 grid. A lot of work to do. Okay, next up, this looks like the Brundle car. Sorry, apologies. It's the Tung Jarvis Laurent car. The number 38 car comes over the line and goes 4th in class. Sister car is a few places back in 9th.
Yeah, first 2 cars in LMP2 though are Manor, and they've delivered fastest and second fastest so far.
Well, one of those cars, and forgive me, I don't know which one, Alan, was only delivered to the team this week.
Can I just tell you, it's a car that's in pole position. Fresh, straight out of the paint shop and bang onto the track. Pole position so far.
Whoa.
As we see, one of the Jackie Chan cars, I think it is the 37, bouncing straight across at Beckett's corner, just in the middle. It's Alex Brundle that's in that car at the moment. He's thrown it in there. I presume the front has just started to bounce a little bit, and he's decided the best thing and safest thing is to do to try and survive, live another day, straighten up the wheel and across the grass.
Hopefully not too much gravel in there. Doesn't look like it. Time ticking away. He's got another 3 laps, I think, available to him. But it depends what the tyres are going to feel like for Alex Brundle as he bounces his way through that Abbey right-hander. And now he needs a bit of a banker, doesn't he? As the crew look on. Cheng looking on. Hope and Tung looking on. Gomendy, I don't think he's been driving the car so far. In the meantime, let's come back to the Rebellion. This is the number...
That's the white, they've changed
13.
colour, it's the 13 car, and that's Heimer Hansen that's in this one. He's a silver driver, and he's a guy with a lot of experience though, and he's delivered some pretty good results in the past.
He certainly has indeed, and analyses all of the lap times, analyses everything. Here though is the number 7 Toyota. So he's dropped to 4th.
Yeah, he dropped to 4th because he had his lap time taken away. Remember, that was Conway's first lap time, so he hasn't had the average of both drivers. The other 3 cars are in the pits, though, and so Conway, as long as he delivers a good one, then he should be okay as he comes through Stowe Corner. And car number 38, there's a lot of them. Laurent in the Orica number 38's also had his lap time taken away, but now Conway comes through the last 2 corners to cross the line. Is it going to be pole position? 2 minutes to go.
Target, he's got to do a 1:38.39. He's 4th at the moment. He takes the pole position. The number 7 goes back to the pole position here at Silverstone by 0.289 of a second. So it is back to Toyotas being 1-2. Mike Conway, Anthony Davidson in the cars here at Silverstone. The British drivers with Toyota top of the pile. The Porsches with Nick Tandy at the wheel, 3rd at the moment, and Timo Bernhard in 4th. Toyota, Porsche.
Well, that lap time is now only 0.3 of a second between Conway and Davidson. It was a lot bigger before. However, then the previous lap was taken away for track limits, and the gap to Porsche, the first Porsche, 1.3 seconds.
Here's the Signatech Alpine. He goes to LMP2 pole position. Matt Rao, who was at the bottom of the pile a moment ago, has managed to stick it around this Silverstone circuit, and an absolute lap time of 1:43.692.
Frankie, we were talking just a wee second ago, sorry to interrupt you there, but we were talking about the Manor cars. That 25 car is now down in 13th. It's nearly at the bottom of the list. Just shows how quick they've suddenly turned around in this category.
And Matt Rao's time has disappeared. Is there a glitch in the timing, or has something happened that I'm yet to be aware of? In the meantime, here's Nico Lapierre.
Yeah, Lapierre had a bit of a scruffy yesterday. Spun into this corner, locked up the rear, went in backwards into the gravel. He spun a little bit earlier on, and that was also, it just wasn't a good day for him. He was running around. Now, this car is a good car. He's a fantastic driver, and he knows what to do. And so Nicolas Lapierre, though, I would expect, and he has, he's 2nd at the moment, but I would expect that that team would recover, whether it's in qualifying or in the race, but they will recover.
Apologies to Matt Rao, of course, Nico Lapierre in the car. Bit of a delay on my screen, and I'm getting up to speed, so apologies, Matt.
Right, this is qualifying. They're all up to speed already.
Yeah.
Conway, Davidson, Tandy, Bernard are the first 4, 2 Toyotas, 2 Porsches, but now it's Thierry in the G-Drive car that is in pole position on LMP2, but he's already pitted, as we can see. A very, very happy Toyota team.
They certainly are. Huub de Schoenack and the Toyota guys around him, and big smiles to start off this 2017 season. Meanwhile, down there at G-Drive for the number 26 car, they've taken the pole position, with Thierry and Alex Lynn doing the driving. Roman Rusinov as well, very happy with his afternoon's work. So top of the pile in LMP2 by 0.04 of a second.
Yeah, that's just a sniff, but as they say, an inch is as good as a mile in the right direction. You don't care as long as you win qualifying, you win the race.
Anthony Davidson out of the car. Congratulations to Anthony. He will be starting his number 8 Toyota from 2nd position on the grid tomorrow. Big smiles, look at that, big smiles for Thierry on the left-hand side, Roman Rusinov and Alex Lynn on the right. So then, a good day for the Brits. Pole in LMP1, a British driver pole in LMP2 as well. Superb stuff. This is Nico Lapierre just making his way back towards the pits.
As the checkered flag is out, but he's coming into Kopp's corner as Lapierre. He's actually still on a lap. He's close enough, so this isn't over yet, Toby.
No, okay.
Lapierre has decided, no, he's still going to give it another one as he flicks it into Beckett's into the right-hander flat out, lifts off through the left, lets the car run through. He's right over the curb, and he needs to hit that inside curve there to get a good run through, as now he comes through the second sector. This is going to be the key point, this second sector, and that traffic up ahead of him. Is he going to get out the way, or is Lapierre going to get caught?
He's up on the first split. He's done a brilliant second split as well.
No, he's backed out though.
Or has he lost? Oh.
He's backed out of it. He saw the traffic and that's it. So Lapierre has backed out, come into the pits. So it is going to be the G-Drive car that's on pole position, and second is going to be Lapierre in the Alpine.
Well, what a superb job though from Lapierre. In the meantime, let's catch up with the pole position Toyota guys, and it's going to be Kobayashi we shall speak to.
Kamui Kobayashi, that was a superb run from you.
Thank you. Obviously, I think, Toyota Gazoo Racing made a great car through this season. We are quite confident for our car, and definitely we show first time at racing Silverstone, and the car was great. I think in the winter time, I think the guy was working really hard, and even background in Japan, I think the power unit made really good improvement. So it's a great job for the guys. We just did the last part of the job myself, but definitely I think the team made a great job for this winter test.
Looking forward for tomorrow?
Yeah, definitely. I think we are in good shape for tomorrow.
Thanks very much.
Well, very calm and very cool and very happy is that crew to have, well, let's be blunt here, Alan, dominated qualifying.
Yeah, they delivered a performance. We remember they're playing slightly different strategy games in terms of their downforce levels, but still, that was a very, very strong performance by Toyota to take the front row of the grid.
Toyota 1 and 2 here at Silverstone. Porsche 3 and 4 on the second row. In LMP2, it is pole position for the G-Drive 26 car ahead of the Alpine. Jackie Chan, and then Rebellion a little bit further back. The number 37 Jackie Chan car didn't have much fun in qualifying, but it'll be a burn from the stern that they'll be looking at to do tomorrow in the 6 hours of Silverstone. So, it was Alex Lynn who first went out with the number 26 G-Drive car, and Louise is down there to catch up with the Daytona 24-hour winner.
Look, Alex, the sun's coming out for you. What a great performance.
Yeah, no, it was an amazing qualifying session. Big thanks to G-Drive, and also my teammate Pierre Thirier did an amazing lap there right at the end, and to only use one set of tyres as well. I don't think many of our rivals did that, and this race is going to be a lot about tyre strategy, so I'm absolutely over the moon.
You obviously love this circuit, so thoughts for tomorrow?
I'm just really looking forward to it, to be honest. 6 hours of hard racing with a great team. I think we'd like to finish on the podium and start our season in the right way, and if anything more comes, then I'll be ecstatic.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Sorry, that was
Very cool, very calm there from Alex Lynn. Overall classification of all classes, Toyota's 1-2, the Porsches, the G-Drive on LMP2 pole position, the Coles car a little bit further down in 9th position. The Chip Ganassi Ford took pole position in GTE Pro, and the Aston Martin took pole in GTE AM. Qualifying took place here at Silverstone under sunny but cold skies. First out on the racetrack were the GTE cars. They had the whole of the 3.6 miles of Silverstone tarmac to themselves. The AM cars were out there with the Pro cars to kick things off. But in the end, it was the Dempsey Proton car and then the Spirits of Race Ferrari in second position. But in the class, it was the number 98 Aston Martin with Paul Dalla Lana, Pedro Lamy and Matthias Lauda who took the pole position in that class. In GTE Pro, it was the number 95, what was the Dane train with a Kiwi on board now, who took third position. Then the number 71 Ferrari, Sam Bird and Davide Rigon, but it was pole position going to the number 67 Ford GT Chip Ganassi car, Andy Prio, Harry Tinknell, Durrani over the moon where their afternoons work. in the Ford garage. Then we went on to qualifying with the LMP cars, both the LMP1 quintets and then the LMP2 Orecas and the Alpine. It was the number 38 car, the Jackie Chan, that got third in class. Then it was the Signatech Alpine that was second in class, much as Matt Rao and Nico Lapierre tried. But in the end, it was Rusinov on pole position with Alex Lynn and Thirier pole position in LMP2 here at Silverstone. In the big battle, it was the number 1 Porsche, Nick Tandy at the helm, that got third position behind Anthony Davidson's number 8 Toyota. Try as it may, it couldn't quite topple eventually Mike Conway, who took pole position here at Silverstone today.
Did you take 2 sets? Yeah.
Nico Lapierre pretty happy with his result, but having another quick look at the overall classification, good news for the British racing drivers, 3 out of the 4 pole positions. So Conway, Lynn, Priot Tinknell, we can't quite let Dalalana, Lamy and Lauda in yet.
No, but they were driving a British car, so for the Brits, then it was certainly home advantage here at Silverstone, and the local circuit knowledge of growing up round here produced a great qualifying. But as we know, qualifying is only just that. The 6 hours tomorrow is the thing that pays the points.
Absolutely correct, absolutely right. Some advantages for some people to sleep well on, and some work to be done tonight here at Silverstone. So Toyota on pole position with the big downforce, Alan. Porsche a little bit further back, but a slippery, faster car in a straight line. It's the hare and the tortoise tomorrow, is it?
Yes, it is, but it's also inter-team battles as well, because you don't want your teammates to get away. So from the team's perspective, they look at the overall view. From the driver's perspective, in their own cars, they look at their selfish little view as well. And so I think they're definitely in the LMP1, you're going to see an interesting split strategy there and how that works out. LMP2, though, that's going to be really hard and feisty. I can see a lot of elbows out and pushing and shoving into the first corners there. And then the GTE, Ford delivered. However, don't discount Ferrari, and I'm surprised that Porsche weren't more competitive. I would expected a little bit more in their debut with the RSR.
For those of you who are thinking to come along here to Silverstone tomorrow, tickets are on the gate, under 16s coming in for free. Come and see all of the races that we've got here tomorrow, and main focus of which being the kickoff for the 2017 FIA World Endurance Championship, the 6 hours of Silverstone.